green tea.
Hi, everybody.
Guys? Hello.
So we're going to talk about fear today and what fear actually does, where it comes from, how it creates attachments, and all of that stuff that basically holds us back and was created to hold us back. So I'm going to ask Z and Aubrey to explain where it actually came from. We have talked about it a little bit in the past, but it's buried deeply in the videos.
Right. Well, so back during the creation of humanity, the Anunnaki fidgeted with the system enough to put in a sort of a nervous system. It wasn't fully formed yet, but it was enough so that they had control. So there's a control aspect that came in. The fear itself as an entity, as a being, as a frequency, didn't come in until a little bit later, during the point where humans decided that they wanted to have their power struggle, because there were other beings around like the Anunnaki, and there were other teachers around teaching them that they had literally had the ability to do anything. And they saw these beings as being more powerful, and they started to have their own power struggle with that, and they created fear to keep themselves in control. And that also ties in with the religious aspect and everything like that. It was just an aspect of control that kept itself running.
Yeah. Because once you get it down to the base, then it's all about survival. So you get stuck in that. And one of the things we do when we're stuck in fear is we start we're like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I'm going to start attaching myself to things that I think can help me do it. And that could be your spouse, that could be your parents, that could be planet Earth, that could be the society, the government, whatever it is. It's somebody that is going to help you get through the fear. And then you've created an attachment, which is basically another drain of energy.
It's very easy to feel like fear is there to keep you safe, or to remind you that you need to be safe, and that's just not true. And so when you're attaching to all these things, it makes you're trying to look for a sense of safety that you can really only find within yourself. And fear is actively working against you finding safety.
Yeah. And biologically too, we go back to, like, we have the reptilian aspect, which is shifted out of our fields, and we blame it on that as being a part of that fear survival state, when actually it wasn't a part of the mechanism. It came in from wanting to be better than a hierarchy structure, and creating that energy to keep it going. So it's not a part of us at all. It literally, fear itself, false evidence appearing real. And that's a good way to look at it. It's fake. It keeps you in a distraction phase. And also it does keep you tied and attached to whatever it is, because it's like a mask. It's like a shadow that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, it is. And it interferes with your whole body system, creates illness. It creates a disconnect to the crystalline body, which we're basically integrating. It's been built. It's time to integrate, and we're integrating it. And when you're freaking out, then your nervous system, which won't be there later, is bumping up against the crystalline system. So it's not really helping the integration at all.
It actually fractures the crystalline system. It fractures it, totally displaces it.
And it puts you in lower timelines. When you are starting to focus on something that hasn't happened and you're in a fear state, it will start just like branching all these thought forms and timelines and just keep you completely frozen, and if not, drag you down into just a place where you can't do anything.
So instead of freaking out because we're having this conversation about fear, we're also, at the end, we're going to tell you how to overcome the fear. Because I have certain ways we could do that. I'm sure that Z and Aubrey have certain ways you can do that. But another thing is, we have to remember that the only things that we need to focus on is who we really are, going inside and figuring out who are we, and then also knowing that change is inevitable. Change is coming. We are in for rapid changes. But you're a soul, you're eternal. So to be affected by the things that are happening just in the world at the moment is really like not relevant.
Change is the only constant in the entire universe. Change or flow. It's the only thing that you can reliably actually depend on in the entire universe, is that every single moment is ephemeral. It was always meant to be. It was never meant to be forever. It was always meant to change. Mm-hmm. So as soon as you hitch your wagon to that ride, things become a lot less scary, because change is what you can rely on. Things are always going to change.
And then change becomes exciting. You're like, oh, like this is me so good. I'm going to change right now. Right now, I'm changing to the best me ever. It just becomes exciting once you get past that aspect of fear.
Yeah, it can be fun instead of scary. And I think it's been created to be scary. So we have to let go of that and realize that we're the ones who make the change. You're doing it, you're generating it. And that beautiful power has been used for negative in the past, and now it's being used any way that you want it to be used. So do your absolute best to mind your mind and go forward with like positive ideas about what the changes are that are coming to you. And also knowing if it looks ugly, like maybe it needed to happen so that another change could come in on top of it after.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's like weeding your mind, right? You have like weeds in there, and some of them are really thick and big. And fear comes in essentially. Humanity has attached it to their ego aspect, which keeps constructs alive. We can separate the fear because the fear it's not just not real, and we can pull out one of those big weeds, and there's a lovely hole there. So what are we going to fill it with, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fill it with flowers, fill it with something nice, tulips, you know, whatever. Yeah. So one of the things that you can do physically for fear, and there's actually two. So one, you can just put each hand, one on each shoulder, and just sit there like that for a little while. And that will calm down the nervous system. You can go over your ear, down your hand, all the way off your ring finger, and that will also calm the fight or flight system. Mm-hmm. And you can just put your hands over your heart, both of them, and that will calm you down, and that will take you out of fear. So when you feel it in your body and it starts to build, do one of those things just to let it go, just to let it fry out, let it just go. I don't need it. I don't need that.
Mm-hmm. Also meeting it with grace and curiosity too, because if fear comes up and it's hitting on a construct that's been there for a while, like that's exciting. You could be like, hey, look, fear, you're my best buddy, because once I look right through you, I know that you're bullshit, and this construct's gonna leave. Yeah. And I'm gonna be on a clearer path for myself.
And it's a great trigger, you know, it's an indication of a trigger.
Yes, yep. It is.
Yeah. So what is the trigger? Find the trigger, and you can alleviate that, and you won't have to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. So. And also ask yourself why you're afraid. I mean, in the end, if you're afraid of change, if you're afraid of loss, if you're afraid of death, if you're afraid of the unknown, you're already building for yourself a palace of fear in which it's not going to turn out well. Mm-hmm. If you can start instead asking yourself why you're afraid, that what you're afraid will happen if this changes, you'll always come to, I don't know what's going to happen. That's what scares me. And so instead, like Z said, look through the fear and assume the best. That's how you manifest really, really cool things on the other side.
I mean, also turn that fear bubble into something that's hilarious. Look, you're super squishy. I'm gonna poke you, because literally that's how you can turn it around in your visual senses and open it up for that. You can turn it into whatever you want it to be.
It's like Harry Potter and the Boggarts. If you guys have read Harry Potter, you know, there's an entity that is shows itself by being the thing you're most afraid of, and to combat it you use a spell that turns it into something completely ridiculous, and that's how you combat your fear. You can do that with your real everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I don't know if there's anything else really about it that's massively important. It's just to get to that point, figure it out, just stop for a second and try and figure out, where do I go from here? I feel freaked out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And your body will tell you, like, you'll feel the adrenaline coming through you.
Somatically, your body everything, so it's being very inquisitive and really asking yourself questions. Get your awareness at its all-time high when that comes in, because also too, like, collectively, fear is really what's holding us back right here. It's really the thing that's holding things on a damper. So if we can collectively work this together and basically make a joke out of the fear and know that it's not real, then we can all ascend much quicker. We can manifest much quicker.
And even the very most awake beings on the planet right now are also being involved in this fear state that is holding the entire collective back. So what, on an individual basis, just why are you scared? Really ask yourself that, and really, like, on a personal basis, start showing other people what it looks like to step forth without fear. It's not necessary. We don't need to be afraid.
And sometimes that's, I mean, in humanity, it's one of those where it doesn't need to be there, but if it is, like, you could just be like, yeah, I don't really care. Cool. I'm still going for it. Right. I'm still doing it. Like, it's not going to stop me from doing anything. I have my choice here.
Yeah, exactly. And we've all bumped up against it, but we don't need to let it rule us anymore in any way.
No.
So I know once you guys, if you haven't done that work before, this is going to probably help you do it. And it's really not that hard anymore. You can release stuff very quickly now. Yep. So
you have to be willing to step into the unknown, the version of you that doesn't have the stuff that you're releasing, including the fear. Step into the unknown.
And step into the fear too. Like, it's anytime, like, somebody is afraid of something, I'm like, well, just go for it. See what's going to happen. Like, really, what's going to happen if you do it? And they do it. They're like, really? That was ridiculous. I was on the floor for 3 days in this little shit pile, when it was just, oh, I just had to walk into it. Wow. Okay. That's
right. Well, and what's the worst thing that could happen?
Exactly.
And if once you experience it, even just in your head, you're like, oh, well, that wasn't such a big deal, so I'll just go forward. It's the feelings that have been installed over thousands of years that have really, like, it's time to get rid of them and overcome them. There's just so many things you can do. So get close to you. When that happens, go inside and figure out, okay, where do I go from here? I have this feeling.
Yep.
Yeah. And another thing I want to mention is we have some classes going on, and I'm going to put the links below for those, because that's another way that can help you go through ascension.
And we will be covering this, and we will be covering non-attachment and also ways to help yourself move through it.
Yeah.
We also have a walk-in workshop coming up, which we're really excited about. The last time we did this workshop, we went way over on the time that we meant to, and we really saw some really enacted change in people, and we're really excited to do this again. So if any of you are feeling like you might be a walk-in or want to know more about it and would like some help getting your soul into your body and getting your systems online, we're going to this time do a much more intensive workshop. I think it's 6 hours that we're going to be doing. It's a full day workshop.
Yeah. And only 10 people can come, because we want to pay very close attention to each person. And also, we're going to be talking to you about who you are. So when you go out of that workshop, you're going to know who you are. You're going to be healed. You're going to be integrated. And you can kind of just go forward at that point.
Exactly. A lot clearer on path. Each individual is going to get a really deep dive. We're going to go into the healing aspect. We're going to be working together, and then everybody's going to have individual time. So it's going to be a really lovely.
And we are going to be having another question and answer session and just like integration follow-up a week after, just a short 1 or 2 hour just follow up, just to make sure everyone's doing well. So it's going to be
really fun.
It'll be really beautiful. So anyway, we wanted to talk to you guys about that today. And we just really what we're here for in general, and you too are here for, is to bring everybody through ascension. That's why we're here. So anything we can do to facilitate that, we're going to do.
Exactly.
Yep.
To its most extreme.
Yes.
Because we've got this, guys.
We do.
You
We're ready.
do. Yeah. You have so much power that you don't even know about yet. So it's gonna be
A lot of humanity has been really defined by its limits, and we're not doing that anymore. There are no limits here. We can do this. And there's been a lot of questions in the galactic community and from humans themselves of like, are we ready for this? We are. Like the only way to be ready for this is to do it. It's time to actually step into ascension, which we already have. We're already stepping into ascension.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep taking
We're
the
gonna
steps.
keep going. We're on a very short plan now. Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna stop us.
Yeah,
Stop it. Knock it out.
We're just gonna keep going quick. Okay. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you so much, guys.
Bye.
We appreciate you.